Welcome to StartupHakk. I'm Spencer Thomason, and here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers and build custom software solutions. So I do a lot of work as a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology, teams, and products. So we've all seen the headlines about tech layoffs, but is the end finally in sight? Now, I'm really optimistic and definitely more optimistic than a lot, but recent data suggests that the job market, especially for software developers, is coming back. So let's dive into some analysis that I've done today and discuss why my feelings are this way. And I can go over some of the data and some of my analysis from this afternoon and why I think we're seeing a job resurgence around tech. So let's dive in. All right, so let's jump into some of this today. So now, first of all, I want to address this infamous Indeed chart that has been kind of like, it's made its way all over the internet. And I want to kind of tackle this one right off the top because move my head here. First of all, so Fred, repositioned this, and I found this thing, quoted at probably a dozen different sources. But this really scary looking chart. And I want to even talk about this chart in itself for a minute. But so showing this here, which I think the data point that it's putting at 100% is actually kind of an artificial high. Going into the job market or going into COVID, right? We saw this dip from COVID, right? So we saw COVID hit, and that's why we saw this really fast movement here, right? And then we saw this crazy run up, right? This crazy run up to here. Now, there was a crazy run up in the job market, that ran into 2022, where you literally couldn't hire people fast enough. This is the Great Resignation because people were seeing job wages, especially in tech, right? We saw this Great Resignation where people were, leaving, and we saw this crazy run up of wages, and you couldn't hire anybody. Now, before that, and so it's stating that kind of the hypothesis that this chart is stating here is that the 100%, the normal, it's stating that the normal was before COVID hit. Now, I think this is wrong anyways. I think the market was very inflated at that point anyway. So I actually think what we saw here was above average, which makes this even crazier above average, which I agree with. Like, we saw some crazy times through here. And then I think we saw a correction. I think this is actually a correction. Now, I do think it swung too far, and everyone's like, look, Indeed is still posting the jobs are at this lowest level, this pre-2020 level. Now, we might be a little bit lower than pre-2020 level, but even still, there's kind of one overarching thing here that I think I have to really call out. One of the very first premises that I hate about this is I've never hired a software developer off of Indeed. Nor do I know any company who's ever hired software developers off of Indeed. So why is Indeed the source for this? Because I think their data's flawed. I think this spike you're seeing here is because people were so desperate, they were posting on all the job boards, trying to desperately hire developers, and you saw this crazy run-up of job postings on Indeed, when I think Indeed is a crappy source for this. If you want to see something for real, let's see some of the statistics from LinkedIn. Let's see some of the statistics from Dice. We've got statistics from other sources that I think are going to be a lot more accurate than Indeed. I think Indeed's numbers here are screwed up. But this is the chart you're seeing everywhere. And it's what everybody's going to like, oh my gosh, the rise and fall of tech, right? Now, there's the other one that I've talked about with the chart from ADP. But the funny thing about even the ADP chart is they're actually leveraging some of the same data. Now, I want to kind of dig into some other parts here. And so, I want to talk to this because I think there's some important things. So, Indeed is not a major player. I think they're a terrible statistic for this, in my opinion. Love to have people hate against me. Leave your comments down below. I really think that this is a bad one. So there was a dip. And now I think we're seeing some definite, hit over 2023 and 2024. I'm not arguing that there were layoffs in 2023 and 2024, and I'm going to get to that here in a second. But companies are, and some people are saying that companies are not filling old positions, but I think they're actually creating new ones. that want to do AI, cloud computing, and other cutting edge technologies. I think in general, as part of this, we saw a tech run up during COVID, and I think there was some old tech that got kind of voted off the island. And I think similar to like we saw with Twitter, then became X, people are figuring out they can do more with less. So I do think that there's been some glut in the tech industry that we've seen, through 2020. Definitely, I think a lot of it happened in some of the arms, developer arms race for 2020 through 2020, 2021, 2022. And then I think we saw a lot of correction as money became more expensive in 23 and 24. And I'm going to get to that too here. So let's kind of jump over back to some other data here, because I think this is a more accurate set of data that I want to look at here. So let's zoom this in a little bit here. So CompTIA, which I think is going to be a better source of this anyways, has actually shown that the labor statistics, right, over the last few years has stayed relatively static, right? And as we look through, the national rise, right? So this is national rise, and this is the tech occupation rise. So we definitely did see a run up, right, where we saw, the unemployment rate, got high with the spikes around COVID. Those numbers have been low, but again, I think we're seeing this trend to start creeping back up again, right? And so I think this is the occupation rate, meaning number of jobs, right? Now, job market in itself is seeing some interesting movements. But then I think we see on this chart here that we're also seeing, some relatively static. I mean, there's some noise and some movement here, but CompTIA kind of overly shows that they're, and we see this posting volume kind of coming back up. And so, yes, it was high in 22. There's no doubt about that, right? That's why I think all those people were rushing to Indeed, because we couldn't hire anybody, so posts were high, and we couldn't fill them because there wasn't enough bodies. So we had to rush to the market. I do think we saw, this low kind of hit the spot, and then we see it start to creep back up. Stay static, a little creep up mid-year this year. July is, showing a little bit of a dip. That could just be because people go on summer vacations, right? You can kind of see dips in other Julys. See a little bounce here, right? But this is an interesting chart here because tech hirings that don't require a 4-year degree, like we were so desperate here, but I think we're seeing an overall rise of tech hiring that doesn't require a degree. Now, I also hear from a lot of people that, oh man, they're only hiring people with tons of experience. Maybe, but I mean, I still see 22% hiring here and 34% not even listing. So, I mean, I think that's still some interesting data that we have to analyze through this part. So I think that's CompTIA, and then I'm going to go through some of the true up data here. I think it's really interesting. Gives us a clear view of what the tech job market is like. While layoffs were headline grabbing, these reports show a rebound that is stronger than most expect. The tech industry isn't just surviving. I think we're starting to see some life come back into it. Companies are not only filling old positions, but they're actually creating new ones as we expand into AI, cloud computing, and other cutting-edge technologies. I think AI, machine learning, security, I think these are huge positions that are not going to go away. I think they're actually growing really quickly. Now, I want to go to another source, because another place that I think is keeping data that to me feels a whole lot more to the trend, a lot more to the feel of the trend of somebody who's in there. And I kind of just think Indeed is really broad to a lot of things. Let me go to this one here, and this is one that we see frequently. This is TrueUp, right? Or TrueUp, yeah, TrueUp.io. Now, this is talking about the tech layoffs. Now, we definitely saw, a huge spike in layoffs in 2023 and in the beginning of 2024, right? We saw, this one shows, and remember that this is showing all layoffs, right? This isn't only, and it says tech layoffs, but I think that's I think there's some fuzzy math in here, because they're listing 15,000 people impacted at Intel as of August 1st. Now, I have a lot of friends at Intel, and a lot of work in various levels of management at Intel. The Intel layoffs are going to happen over the next 18 months, right? And I've done 2 or 3, videos on this. A lot of them aren't even going to be tech. They're going to be fabrication. They're going to be a lot of other industries. Dell is going to be all sales, They've said that from the beginning. There's no desire to touch tech on Dell. Dell wants to continue to invest a lot into technology, and so they're not like Dell isn't cutting anything with tech. So I see this spike, and people are like, "Oh, so you look, layoffs are going to be on a rise." You take those two out, layoffs for August look fantastic, and even as we look into July here, like some of these are are pretty interesting ones. Like Intuit has laid off 1,800 people, but again, it's all the low performers. Like Intuit moves slow. They're just getting rid of some of their glut from their hiring frenzy in 2022. Tesla, we didn't really see many technical people. I didn't see any technical people really hit the market. And this was global. That's the other part of this. This is a global workforce. So I think some of this gets some fear mongering that grabs the headlines, but some really solid numbers that that become really interesting here is number of tech jobs open. That's what I want to really focus on here. It's kind of want to get away from focusing on these headline grabbing FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, right? Like that's what sells. And I kind of want to get away from this and talk about the real numbers where I see trends heading. So yes, 2022, we saw job openings crazy high. We saw a low, right? Almost half, under half, right? So 475,000 down to like 160. So yeah, we were feeling the pinch. There was not a lot of job opens through here. We've definitely seen it creep back up. Now, what unfortunately they don't show as you go back a little ways, right, is the other side of this curve is we're actually kind of trending to right exactly where we were pre-COVID. And I think a lot of people got so used to just the great resignation period where they got to just pick their salary, their job, and they were just being treated, like a superstar. But I think we're seeing these through 2024, we're seeing these creep back up. And I think that trajectory, that line, is where we're going to continue to see this head. And I'll get into some of the reasons why here too. Now, everyone's all like, big tech isn't hiring. Actually, that's not what they're saying here. Every single one of them are showing increased openings in jobs. Every one of these are an up arrow pointing, right? These are, your big seven, right? And every one of these still show it. Now, I think they purged a whole bunch of bad hires that they hired when they were hiring just in these hiring frenzies of 2022. And every one of these now, is actually back to hiring and at a high rate, right? And so again, I think we need to be really careful to look past some of the FUD that we have. And that's why I think, let's talk about AI. Now, the buzzword's been driving around the job market for a while, and it's definitely like a gold rush. Instead of digging for gold, we're coding for gold, right? The demand for software developers in AI is off the chart. And guess what? The Labor Department lists software developer as the second fastest growing occupation in the US right now, right behind health aides. So unless you're going into health, because we all know health is just ridiculously expensive right now, other than that, software development is second behind that. So with AI at the forefront, the future looks really bright for developers who are ready to ride this wave. If you're not on board and you want to just say AI is stupid and I'm afraid it's going to take over jobs and it's going to be the next Terminator, then I don't think it's going to be very popular in a job interview right now. Because if you're not on board right now, you really got to get on board with AI. Not because I'm saying that you have to build it, but you need to be able to learn to use it. So one of the best things about being a software developer today is the flexibility. So not only are developers not only is it one of the fastest growing industries still, but software developers earn 2.5 times the average U.S. worker. Now, they also have some of the most flexible work conditions, right? Remote work, I don't know very many jobs developers who are required to come in 5 days a week to the office, right? Flexible hours, most people I know pretty much work the hours they want. So there's a lot fewer companies that are even requiring degrees. So if you want to get into the field, it's one of the best times to still get into the field. So the industry is becoming more accessible, opening doors for a broader range of talent. And if you're looking for a career with both financial and personal freedom, I've got to say I still think software is it. Healthcare is great and it's in huge demand, but the problem with healthcare is you're not going to get that level of flexibility, guaranteed. Now, let's talk a little bit about the AI gold rush. So I had somebody at a comment come up in the other day, and somebody's like, and this is a comment, right? Even if AI is overhyped, it's like a gold rush. It wasn't the gold diggers who made a lot of money. It was whoever was selling the shovels, end quote. CPU, GPUs are the shovels of AI. Now, I think there's another person who's going to be the shovels of AI, and I think that's developers. Everybody wants AI built into their platform. And sure, you can slap together a widget, a chat bot really quickly and plug it into your org or your platform, but that's not going to be what people want. People want AI to actually be doing some of the work to improve efficiencies, improve accuracies, a lot of that. So I think this comment was spot on. I don't think it's just about selling CPUs and GPUs. The tech giants like Google, they're investing heavily into it. Every one of these big tech giants that I just showed you. Let's go back to this list really quick here. These that are hiring right now, right? Every single one of these are dumping billions of dollars, not hundreds of millions, and not even these guys are dumping billions of dollars into AI right now. And so, these are the big guys for a reason, right? And if they're investing into it, I think it'd be pretty short-sighted to look past that right now. So, now, again, according to the Labor Department, software development is one of the top occupations with the most projected job growths over the next decade. The demand is being driven by AI, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and more. Companies are gearing up for this by investing in talent now, so the jobs are going to be coming back strong. Now, if you're a developer, it's time to level up your skills because the market's about to get really hot again. And let's not forget, software developers offer some of the best job security out there. Now, the other thing that I think is going to affect this, and again, I've been through enough market changes to know that the market affects software development. It absolutely does. So traders see the odds of a Fed rate cut, and this is an article, this is even a couple weeks ago, but it's gotten even stronger as we've hit some other job numbers and things. Traders see the odds of Fed rate cut in September by 100%. Okay, just checking my watch here or checking my calendar. September is just a few weeks away. Now, there are now 93% odds the Fed's target rate will be the cut. As the Fed's cut rate, money is going to become more inexpensive, meaning cheaper. And I think cheaper money means more investment in tech, and that means more tech jobs. The NASDAQ, S&P 500, Dow, they're all at all-time highs. And companies are sitting on a pile of cash, and they're ready to invest. And I think this is the perfect storm for job creation in the tech industry. If you've been waiting for the right time to jump back into the market, this is it. Now, I think the latest jobs isn't just a show of recovery. I think we're going to see a little bit of a transformation. The type of jobs coming back are more specialized. They're more technical. When the bubble hit in 2001, if you knew how to build a website, that's what created the bubble. Hey, I've got a .com on my name. Great, you're worth $1 billion, right? And then that bubble burst. Who was left? Those who really knew how to build web technologies, right? Good ones. 2008, we saw the market crash. Who survived? It was the really good, solid tech companies that survived. In 2020, during COVID, who won? These Magnificent Seven, the ones who were willing to take that and dump it heavy into R&D. I think we're going to see the same thing. I think this is a bounce back. I think it's going to be a leap forward. I think tech industry is evolving, and the job market is evolving with it. Developers who adapt to these changes will find themselves in high demand with opportunities that go not just beyond coding. So I think are tech layoffs at an end? I don't know. I think I don't know if I can go that far, because the problem is companies are being forced to run leaner and meaner than ever before. Also, I think that headlines have favored companies who are doing layoffs. It grabs a lot of clicks. It gets a lot of attention. And so the word layoff just brings a lot of attention to it. Internet sells FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? And so the internet sells that. So layoffs are a big topic. So I think we might always see layoffs. I think they might just be kind of a part of the tech. But honestly, they've always been kind of part of tech. When the market crashed in 2009 and money became really expensive again, I was working on a 5-developer team, and 3 of the 5 of us got laid off a week before the product shipped, right? And they still shipped the product. They just left the other 2 people there to support it. So I think software development jobs are going to be coming back in 2024. I think we're seeing all the early indicators. I think AI is leading the charge, but it's not the only game in town. The opportunities are huge. We're working with one company right now that is backed by a PE group, and as part of that, that PE group wants to deploy technology, right? And so I think there's a ton of opportunity here. So time is active now. If you're a seasoned developer or just starting the market's ripe. So if you're a junior and you want to get into it, Go back and check out a lot of the videos that I do. We've got over 500 code samples that are free, completely free. Go download them, get started on those. I have videos that go along with all of them to teach you how to code. If you want to dive into the coding bootcamp, we offer the coding bootcamp, which provides one-on-one tutoring for everybody. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And if your developer is looking for a job, I'm always looking for great talent. So shoot me your resume. Tech layoffs might have dominated the headlines, but I think the story is far from over. The job market is going to continue to rebound. We'll see new opportunities emerge every day. From AI to flexible work conditions, the landscape is still in favor of developers. It's still one of the best jobs you can get. So, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love having great comments. I actually reply to all of the comments, so make sure you hit me up, even if you're just saying hi. Here at SoftwareHakk, we love training software developers in our coding boot camps, and we also like to build custom software solutions. So reach out because we'd love to help. Hit the links down below, and make sure you check out StartupHakk.com today. Also, make sure you go back and check out my previous videos. We offer tons of free coding samples, and we love to train software developers. Otherwise, we will catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.